think I've had some success here. I'm going to get a little pike out. Try and just grab it. Oh. Hey, is Dave there? So here we come with episode 19, the search for perch, obviously a fishing video. And the idea came from watching a few YouTube videos where people are going out to these small pothole lakes in the prairies and catching some really nice perch. So I took myself down to the local fishing hole, got some local knowledge on where to go, and this is really a test run.
Oh, don't know what I'm doing, da 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 da. This should be interesting. Just heard the ice crack, which is kind of freaky.
I found myself a discount fish finder that had decent reviews online. And of course I had to get a nice auger and some basic fishing equipment. So this trip is about putting it all together and seeing if I can catch a few fish.
So of course, first thing I want to do is drill holes. I bought myself the cheapest freaking auger I could find. We'll see if this is a mistake right out of the gate. I'm going to try and get a hole down, see what happens. Deeper than I thought. Ice is very safe, obviously. Look at all that. I think I got it. Whew! First hole, no problem, but that's got to be 20 inches ice.
So I got myself started. There's fishermen around me, some right in the canal itself, which is amazing to me. Maybe it's better over there, although I see somebody moving. And then of course there's someone behind me, and I've got the one rod in, but I should be actively jigging. I'm just getting settled here. I'll get my warm coat on, because half the battle's staying warm. And then there's someone who set up a big double tent just this way, which is interesting. Now there is another form of fishing I want to do. I've got the little tip up, which with the little rod, that's a classic. But there's another form of fishing that my son introduced me to, and that is beer can fishing. So, in order to do beer can fishing, first you need a beer can. Beer can. Some of my son's favorite beer, a little PBR, and it should be empty. This is the best part. Oh, I haven't shotgunned in a while. Woo! It's good. Okay, now that I got the empty beer can, the next step is to rig it with a line. I'll get back to you on that one. The gist of beer can fishing is that you wrap the line around the can and then you feed it out. Well, obviously you tie a hook on and some bait, you feed it out, and you set the beer can on the ice. And what happens is the fish hits it and the beer can goes skittering around, and you got to jump on it before it all goes down through the hole. So I don't have the footage from that day. You can see it was a little snowier here. This is the second time I set up, which we'll show in the next set of footage. But the funny part about this beer can fishing is that a conservation officer came by and checked my license, of course, and then he looked at my rig and he thought I was being a total idiot. As you can see from the drone footage, it's a beautiful day on Dale Mead Lake. It's a classic prairie lake, a few kilometers long maybe, very shallow. Where I'm fishing is probably 8 feet deep. The channel might be 10 or 12 according to the people I spoke to. And as you look out behind me, you can see some people fishing in the channel, in the irrigation channel, I believe. Now, talking to the conservation officer, he said I was in about as good a spot as I could be. There were some people around me, and let's see if I catch a fish. In this lake, it's mostly pike, and that's exactly what happened here. I caught a pike, but what you're seeing me do is frig around my phone because, of course, I had some proprietary music, some music playing while I was fishing. So I wanted to make sure I muted that before catching the fish. Okay, I think I've had some success here. I'm going to get a little pike out.
try and just grab it. Whoa. Hey! Look at that. Nice little pike. It's a little wrapped up here. And get it on the hook. There we go. All tied up.
So there you have it. The auger worked, the fishing rod worked, everything worked out to catch a nice pike. And the next step, of course, is to find the coveted perch.
So welcome back to the search for perch, part 2, maybe 3, I can't remember now. Anyway, I got, Sylvie and I were making knives last weekend, and I got a little bit of an inside tip that there's a small lake up here a little farther north, and the ice is still good. I just went out and checked it. It's still 20 inches out there, even though there's a layer of water on top. But apparently, there's perch in this sucker. It's tiny, but really pretty, and I could see signs of people fishing on it. Some sticks marking old holes, so I went and drilled beside one of them. I thought, I wonder how far it'll be down, and it took me quite a while to get the hole through. It was over 20 inches. So I'm gonna go get the gear. You can join me on the walkout. It is a little creepy when you're walking and you're in like 3 or 4 inches of slush and water. But where I've drilled is quite nice and stable, and I followed a certain track out. I'll follow that again. And maybe I'll put the drone up and just follow me out. It might make for a nice shot.
This is a pretty little lake, and it's quite small. It's got an island in the middle, and I did notice some people doing some outback camping here when I came back later in this video. So it's somewhat popular with the locals, but it has no name from what I can tell. So I've taken to calling it No Name Lake. Now it's long in the sense that you can go back behind the island and all the way down to a beaver dam at the other side close to the road. But the whole lake in its entirety is probably 500 meters long and a few hundred meters across at its widest point. So No Name Lake it is. Oh, and here you get to see me eat shit going in there, which is always a fun thing to do on video. I was a little worried doing a late season ice fishing on these lakes, but it's farther north and into the mountains, so a small lake like this still had plenty of ice. Unfortunately, it was quite soft and very hard to get through.
So the first thing we're going to do is try this very inexpensive fish finder that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to put the transducer down, I think below the hole, and turn it on and see if we can get it working. I didn't get it working last time I was fishing. There it goes. And that was because I don't think I had batteries in it, or I wasn't operating right. So what's interesting here, and maybe it still doesn't work, 114 feet, which is absolutely no, but I think it's still figuring out what depth it's at, because it just changed 164 feet. It's showing fish, which is a good sign, and they're about halfway in the water column, and it's continuously beeping at me. I don't know how to get that buzzer off. Oh. Did that work? So anyway, I'm not doing a great job with it. We'll let it sit for a second while I get the fishing rod set up and just see if it gets itself organized and gets a good depth. I don't know if I can hang it off this tree or not. Well, here we are. We're all set up. Took a little bit of work to kind of get the other. I got a beer can rig over here with a minnow on it. I put a little bit of minnow chum on the bottom, a little corn on the bottom here just to attract stuff. And the line wasn't quite fully extended before, so I can't tell whether something's already come and hit it and the flag just didn't go off, or is it settling? Because now I'm getting a mix of readings, but 23 feet seems to be the steady reading. There appears to be fish down there. Who knows with this reader? But I think the first things first. I've been working hard to get out here and get set up. What I think I'm going to do is have a nice sandwich, tuna fish, you know, as appropriate for the day, and maybe a hot cup of tea. And then I'll think about pulling that line and taking a look at it. So we've done a lot of this, but we haven't been doing a lot of this. In fact, none. This is dead. So this was a secret lake. Maybe there's not a ton of fish left in here. Obviously, there's been some activity. I'll clean up the beer cans that are kicking around here. But it was still a good adventure. Now, the weather's turned on me, so I'm going to pack up here. And we're going to go check out another lake. Now, I was going to say that the adventure's still worth it sometimes when you don't get the right result. Neat little pothole lake. Might be stocked with trout maybe in the spring. But what I found is there's at least 4 lakes around here that seem to be fishable. And they're not that far from home, but an hour and a half from home. So it's good to get out and kind of check some of this stuff out. And I think what I'd like to do is come back here in the spring, especially if I don't manage to, the search for perch fails, come back with my hard-sided kayak and do a little kayak fishing in a few of these lakes and just see if we can have a success that way. I wanted to do it ice fishing because it's good to catch perch through the ice. It's kind of neat, but I'm not having much luck. Now that said, I haven't really been working too hard at it. I would classify my cheap fish finder as an utter failure. I'm getting all sorts of different depths and I'm not convinced it's working. So I packed that up, but we'll try a couple things. One is maybe I'll come back with a kayak and do some fishing when the ice breaks, because I won't be able to get back to these lakes until after one of the coming episodes, which is doing maple syrup at the cottage. So I've got to fly out to Ontario soon. I won't be able to do any more ice fishing other than this trip. Maybe one more before I take off. But what we'll do is explore a few of the lakes and do a little scouting as well. So I've decided to change lakes, but not to the one I thought. I came out to a bigger lake. Roads were better. It was kind of dicey getting into that other little lake. The roads are melting, the frost is coming out, making them pretty wet and pretty sloppy. So we're out here on Burnstick Lake. Wind's blowing. Gonna give it another hour or so. This is a pretty popular spot, so maybe not perch, or maybe I'll get pike, we'll see. So check out the view of the mountains. Very pretty spot today, even with the weather blowing in. Look at that, looking down the lake. Just gorgeous. Got the wind behind me. I'm gonna get a rod in and do some jigging and just see how it works out. So I think definitely a better setup. It was nice to go try that little hole. I would have liked to have seen the other small lake and scout it out, but the roads are just too soft, and I was a little concerned about getting stuck with the Subaru. I didn't have my Jeep today. I took Subaru just because it travels better on the highway to get out here. But this is a bigger lake. It's well known for ice fishing. There's remnants of old bonfires and lots of holes along this side. I've heard this is the edge to fish. And maybe I'll even get a little bit of sun. I'm going to try it for a couple hours and see how it goes. And I'll record anything that I catch. Maybe a pike, maybe a perch, who knows? Maybe a trout even. There's anything goes in this lake. So I was just sitting here and enjoying myself. The sun's trying to come out. And you know what the best thing is when you reach into your pocket and you find half of a remaining chocolate bar that you had from the last trip. That is some good karma. Even though the chocolate looks a little frozen and burned, I'm totally eating this. Lovely. So here we go. I got the beer can rig set up. I'm going a little different. I'm going to put the minnow bait on it. And then if you come back a bit, I've got the jig here. I've got a lure with a jig on. It's actually quite a bit deeper than I thought. I think it's probably 30 feet here, which is great.
So we'll see if we can catch anything, really, is what we're going for. And check out this day. It's turning into a beautiful day. Wow. I think I'm going to work right till the evening here. Work, haha. I think I'm going to fish right till the evening. So I got something on. Not sure what it is. I'm going to try and bring it up here. I'm hoping it's a perch. See if I can get it up for us here. Oh, it's just a baby. I was just talking to a buddy on my phone. He said, "Oh, burnt stick, super tough lake to fish," and right away I caught this little tiny pike. So we're gonna let him go. I gotta get my pliers out because he took the. Maybe I'll get a rag too. Sometimes it's good to have a rag just so you can get a grip of the fish. And then if you need those pliers, you can just get that. Oh, he's clamped down on me. There we go. Cut it out. There we go. So we're going to let him go. Here he goes. Whoop! Down the hole he goes. Well, it's not a complete skunk. No Name Lake and Burnt Stick Lake were fun fishing experiences. It was a beautiful day, but all I caught was a small pike. Not a complete bust, but certainly not a success. The search for perch had to continue. The next stop on this search had to wait until the ice went out. Like I said, I had other plans, but I did eventually get back to some of the lakes in the area. This happens to be Crimson Lake, and I had it on good authority that this had perch in it, and it was very fishable. So I busted out the hard-sided kayak and decided to give it a try. But the first thing you got to do is make sure you're well fed. So this is funny. There's a whole lake to ski on, but this guy's going to come right by me. And, you know, it just shows you some people can't be polite at all. Now I got to deal with the waves. So I have a feeling it'll be a number of these videos today. I'm out on Crimson Lake today and I'm trying to catch perch. And here's my first one. It's small. I guess there's a lot of small ones here, but there are big ones around. So I'm in my kayak. I'll put maybe the GoPro on later. The search for perch has ended. It's not quite what I expected, but it is a yellow perch. And the rest of the perch I caught were very much like this. A small jig head with a worm and letting it bounce along in the weeds and it would get picked up. And I caught a lot of small perch in the first day. I didn't get a ton of video of it, but for those of you that are observant, you'll notice I have two different rods. So I was fishing, or the video is from fishing on 2 different days. But success, unfortunately no big perch. All of them were what we call dinks. That's a small perch that's not keeper. And here you go. So here's 6 dinks in 15 seconds. Dink. That's a dink. Well, it's fun on this little rod. Dink. Another dink. Another dink. Oh, what a surprise. A dink. Dink. With the perch mission accomplished, I decided to go back to No Name Lake and try and see if there was any perch in there. Any fish for that matter. I thought as a second adventure we would do something a little different. I keep coming back to the secret lake. It's a pond really, it's very small because apparently there's some great perch in here. I've tried to fish it twice, once ice fishing, once with my kayak. No luck, no definitive bites I would say, and it's hard for me to believe that there's fish in here. Now, that secret spot that someone tells you, sometimes it's just a fib or people just screwing around.
I thought we would try and figure out for real. And what's the best way to check if there's fish in there? I've tried my little discount fish finder. It didn't work very well. I suppose I could put a fish finder in here, but I thought I would go and take a look myself. So I brought the GoPro, a light that I used for the search for stone boat. So we're going to go into this lake, we're going to dive it, and we're going to see if there's anything in there from a fish perspective. What do I expect to see? I'll tell you what I expect to see. No fish. I'm very doubtful, but I want to give these people the benefit of the doubt. I expect to see beer cans in there, and there is supporting evidence. When I came out here to ice fish, there was some old ice fishing holes and some beer cans on the ice that I picked up. So someone has been here and tried. I thought also I would fly the drone over it, because sometimes these little ponds and lakes become dumping grounds, and sometimes you find something unusual in there. When I flew with the drone, I didn't see anything that stood out, not an old car or anything like that. But there is, I won't say nothing stood out, there is an unusual depression with a big lump in the middle of it down here. Could be natural, might be man-made, so we're going to go and take a look at that too. So, 3 things. Are there fish? What the hell is that thing? And will I see, let's do an over and under. Will I see more than 10 beer cans out there? My bet is I'd take the over on this. I put a little sped up version of the GoPro footage that I took, but what you'll see here is there's just lots of seaweed on the bottom. It's all carpeted. Lots of spots for minnows and other fish to hide, but not a single hint of a fish. What's also clear is that between the island and where I went into the water, there's quite a deep patch in there, and that's where my fish finder said it was around 23 feet. I believe that now because I dove about 10 and I couldn't see the bottom. Maybe this warrants another adventure. So what did I learn out there? Well, ended up with a rubber boot and a beer can and a butane can, but not 10 beer cans. I did not see any sign of wildlife, and I would have thought at least even in the shallows I would have seen something. But hey, half-baked ideas get half-baked results. It's deep in the middle. It's cold. It must be spring-fed, and I couldn't get to the bottom. I ended up starting out, and you saw I kicked off my flipper. It's because my other flipper's in the mud there somewhere. And now I got to go find it. I couldn't find it. With my flippers on, I could have probably gotten down deeper. I put the camera as deep as I could go, and I'll see on the footage if there's any fish on there, but I did not see anything. But I can't dismiss it because I couldn't cover the whole pond. The thing is deep in the middle. I'd guess 20, maybe 30 feet. My guess is this is an old gravel pit, very old, and it's just kind of filled in. It's hit a spring and filled up, so they couldn't use it anymore. So I can't discount the possibility that there's some fish in there. I guess more likely trout with the temperature of the water, but there could be perch in there as well. Although not seeing a single fish or minnow in there gives me doubt. The mystery anomaly, I couldn't find it. It started to get cold, so I walked my way back around the lake and looked for it from the bank, seeing if I could see something. So all this leads me to think that maybe there's a second adventure here. I'll come out with a support group, someone to just be here if I'm going to go dive deeper, and I do a better job landmarking with my drone. Join me in the next episode where I go back to the cottage and make maple syrup the hillbilly way. Please like and subscribe if you want to keep the adventures rolling. Dave's not home, man.